The path to paradise begins in hell. Welcome to the Grind Over Chatter podcast with Acie. This podcast is for everyone out there who's on the grind for a better life. Greatness ain't about what you've done or achieved, it's about how you got there and how you stay on top. You're about to hear real stories from real hustlers who are putting in that work to crush it in their industries today. Together, we'll learn about the qualities and habits that it takes to achieve success at the highest level. Whether you're looking for a new hustle or a side hustle, we hope to inspire and provide you with the tools to take your grind to the next level. Y'all ready? Let's get this money. Hey y'all, DJ Acie here, back with episode 3 of the Grind Over Chatter podcast. In this episode, we talk about one of the biggest and scariest fears known to man, and that's the fear of public speaking. One of the most nerve-wracking experiences one can endure is getting in front of a crowd, being the center of attention, and having to deliver on a microphone. However, with me today, I have invited two of the absolute best in the game when it comes to public speaking. I'll be talking to two professional MCs who have perfected their craft over years and years of experience, entertaining hundreds of thousands of guests, and are still as entertaining as they were on day one. Our first MC is Angelo Martins, who since a teenager has been performing at some of the most prestigious weddings in the Toronto area. Being a young heartthrob, his fun nature and natural charisma sets him apart from any competition. He is also my favorite person to work with in the entire industry. Our second MC is Donovan Fernandes, a powerhouse in the game and a good friend of mine who shares the same passions in professional wrestling as I do. In fact, I was lucky enough to attend his bachelor party in New Orleans, Louisiana for WrestleMania 34, an experience I will not soon forget. He's taken over the South Indian wedding scene in the GTA and is now living in New York City, where he continues to grow his business. To me, he's the LeBron James of MCing. Being a professional MC myself, you'll hear us talk about our come up in the game and how we got over our fears of public speaking to put ourselves in front of all of you, in front of the world. As well, we're sharing some great tips on personal development and overall life skills. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may have your attention please, we are about to get started with tonight's festivities. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grind Over Chatter podcast, episode 3. With me today, I have two of the most talented MCs that I've ever had a chance to learn from. My two biggest public speaking influences, Donovan Fernandes and Angelo Capogna Martins. Welcome to the show, fellas. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing good. Really just hanging out, man. You know, it's really good to be here with Donovan on the other line. You know, my name is Angelo. I'm hoping people can see who's who. No, I'm Donovan Fernandes, Mr. Amal Talk from Toronto, Canada, but right now based out of New York City.
All right. And who's this fellow over here? Who's this handsome fellow?
What's up, guys? What's up? It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be with my two fellow colleagues, two fellow MCing giants. Not to toot my own horn. I am MC Angelo Capogna Martins, your Italian-Portuguese extraordinaire out of Vaughan, Toronto, Ontario.
And still
Trilingual.
Trilingual.
That's right.
Actually, we'll talk about that more later, but yeah.
Wad.
So why don't you guys tell me a little bit what you got going on right now, Donovan? Why don't you start with you?
So right now I'm just, I've really hit the Toronto South Asian market pretty well, and even like in the top 40 market. And now I'm here in New York, New Jersey, the whole tri-state area, just trying to see what I'm, capable of doing out here, and trying to expand my market.
How is it going out there?
It's good. It's different from Toronto. I think Toronto vendors, I think we're spoilt a little bit. Like we should really appreciate what we have in our home city, just because it's as much as it's forward and everyone thinks, oh, it's New York City, it's backwards when it comes here to weddings and wedding MCs. As much as like they have MCs, they're usually DJs who are MCs. And like the company I'm working with, which is Platinum Roadshow, they brought me here for that reason. They have one MC, and now like they're seeing the growth, but there's not enough of good ones, so that's why I'm here.
I felt like Toronto's been like that too, like how you described. Like when I first met you on our first gig together, I was like, wait, there's MCs that aren't DJs, but I guess that New York is like that as well. But we hopefully see that shifting a little bit. I think Ottawa is even worse because I'm in Ottawa right now, and in Ottawa, what we see is no MCs. Like even the DJs here are terrified to get on the mic. We see a lot of family members, a lot of uncles. So it's a lot of convincing for me to do with these couples to tell them that no, you actually need a professional MC. Like you guys don't know what you guys are missing out on.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah. So Angelo, what about you, man? What have you been up to?
Same old thing, man. DJing every weekend. Well, see, there we go, right? It's the DJing, MCing kind of tandem that you're kind of taught to do when you're a one-man gig, I guess, in that sense. But just working every weekend, and it doesn't stop. It's proms and semis and weddings and confirmations and communions and who knows what else people could find a reason to call it a DJ or an MC for. But yeah, kind of like Donovan. I mean, it's the Italian market and the Portuguese market are kind of what I'm used for, obviously, because it helps being fluent in the languages, and I feel like when you speak the language of your client, be it whatever it may, I feel like you build that repertoire, that trust that someone who doesn't kind of is not able to, which in a sense it's good and bad, but I think that's what makes Toronto good and bad at the same time, is that you have these ethnicities rather, that have their own I guess niches and markets that are kind of hard to get into, but if you do manage to get into it, I mean you're basically set for life.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about language for a second, actually. Like, how fluent are you in Portuguese and Italian?
It's exactly as if I was speaking English.
Oh wow, that's pretty good.
Can we hear a little bit of both?
I'll do a little bit of an introduction in Portuguese and one in Italian.
So we'll do in Italian. So basically, to kind of preface it in English, I'm just going to say your basic. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to X Hall. My name is Angelo, and we're here to celebrate the wonderful matrimony of blank and blank. So in Italian, it would be Buonasera, signore e signori, benvenuti al whatever banquet hall you want to insert per festeggiare questa bellissima occasione del matrimonio de blank and blank, which would be the made of the bride and the groom, and then in Portuguese would be like. Say, boa noite, senhoras e senhores, e bem-vindos ao Banquet Hall. O meu nome é Angelo e dá-me grande prazer e honor de estar aqui convosco para celebrar esta grande ocasião do matrimónio de blank and blank. Obviously, the flow and the Latinness of it is pretty much the same, and even someone who doesn't,
So obviously, sorry, I don't mean to hijack the conversation.
No, go
but
on.
so obviously there's a lot of the older people that are at these weddings where it is a necessity for, I guess, like you to be there speaking in Italian and Portuguese, because unlike me, I don't know a lick of any other language. And even though I'm going to do these brown weddings, the reason why they want me to do these weddings is because I sound like this, right? Oh my gosh, he sounds like this? Yeah, I do.
Is there not much of a market, though, for like a Hindi or a Punjabi-speaking MC, like for a lot of these weddings?
Oh, no, there is.
Oh, there has to be. Are you kidding?
Yeah, there is, and it's needed, and there are other MCs that are thriving because they are speaking either Punjabi or Hindi. But in my case, I can't. And
have you lost, like, during like client consultations, speaking to these clients, have you lost business just because they wanted you to speak another language as well?
Yeah, of course. I've lost some bookings to other MCs because I can't speak another language. That's fine. At this point in my life, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, you're keeping
you guys are out
enough for sure.
Yeah, someone else will come in, and that's not a problem here for me.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's because you're extremely successful and you're like very busy at booking your weddings, like big weddings too. Indian weddings are like what, on average, like 500 people at least.
Yeah. You know what? If I walk into an event and it's like 500-600 people, I'm like, okay, that's fine, right? it's like when I get the 1,500, 1,600 people weddings, that's where like my, like I guess like the back of my hair grows.
Really? Okay, what do you say would be more nerve-wracking for you? Like a 1,500 person wedding or like a 40, 50 person wedding?
40, 50
Ooh,
person.
good question.
Yeah.
Good
40, 50,
question.
40, 50 person without, because like you're at that point more intimate. You're directly in front of them. It's like, who needs a microphone? Just let's go.
Exactly. You feel like you can literally see everyone's face in the room just staring like right into your soul. When
Yeah.
there's only like what 4 or 5, 6 tables, And
I've done a backyard wedding with 30 people before.
wow.
And it's just like, why did you hire me?
Yeah, seriously.
I feel like you almost become like a stand-up comic at that point.
Pretty much, yeah, amateur night.
I mean, you're so subject to any type of noise or interference or heckling. Not that heckling happens, but but the thing is that it's funny because I've done parties that are 30, 40 people where it's the best party I've ever done because of the intimacy, because people get to know you, because you can joke around, because you can control your crowd in a way that you're not able to control 1,500, 1,200, or 1,000 people. The repertoire that you build with the people at your party becomes so much more, firm than it would with a party where you're just basically this one man standing in front of an ocean of people, right?
No doubt. And I know you mentioned like the connection with the crowd and the crowd control too. A lot of MCs, especially amateur MCs who are just trying to get out there and talk in front of crowds, they don't have that connection ability. They don't have that crowd control ability. It's more they're just going out there and they're just using their canned lines. And then that's where they lose those crowds, and that's why they can't deal with those crowds. So that's why I brought you two on, because you two are the cream of the crop when it comes to crowd control and cracking jokes and connection. Hey, trust me, I've seen a lot of MCs. Okay, I've seen a lot. I'm one myself too, so I gotta give credit where credit's due.
So I was smiling before, and it wasn't because Angelo was smiling. It's because I don't know how, like, when this gets published, what the people will see. But right now, I just see Angelo, and I just hear your voice coming from above from these earphones, and I can't see you anywhere. It's like the voice of God.
But when you see, you'll see it running back. You'll see sincerity and honesty from my face when I give you guys your props. That's for sure.
Okay. I hope so.
Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning for you guys. Okay. So tell me about your MCing story. Tell me how it all got started for you guys. Tell me what inspired you, who inspired you, and let's start with Donovan.
So, again, I don't if you just want to focus on the wedding stuff, I could focus there.
No, everything, man. Public speaking, even.
I actually went to a high school dance when I was 16. Now, I grew up in a Goan household. Like, you weren't allowed to go out at all. And you had to sit and study, even though I never did study. And I went to a high school dance, and I saw the MC kind of rock out and kind of get the crowd hype. And at that point, I'm like, wow, I like that. And I just, I started doing some events for my cultural society, with the Goan community. And my first time ever going on the microphone was in front of 3,000 people. And the MC, the DJ just turned off the music, and he's like, hype it up, because before then I was running off the stage, hyperventilating. I can't do this. No. Please put the music back on. And from there, obviously, I started university. And based on my skin color, the brown promoters said, okay, well, let's go. You're gonna, work in the Indian nightlife scene. And at that point, but you got to sell tickets. You got to bring people in to make your name. Yeah. Of course. And at that point, I didn't know any brown people. All I knew was a bunch of white people. I grew up in South Etobicoke. Mm-hmm. And so I'm bringing all these white people to brown parties. Big difference. People have no, oh my gosh, he's bringing, it was so racially, it was so racially groundbreaking that it's okay, we got to have this guy on our bills at all times. And, he's going to, I guess, diversify our parties.
Yeah.
But at that point, I started learning about Indian music and how Indian music was really a cool thing to have in nightclubs. I wasn't really too much into hip hop and reggae. I was actually more into Euro.
Oh,
at that
Oh,
point.
oh,
Yeah.
I think
here we
all are.
go.
I was
all
more
are.
into Euro.
Yeah.
So you have this brown MC being forced into this hip hop Indian world. But he really is not. He's not into any of that. He's
He
more
just
into
wants to pump
Euro.
his fist, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I emceed in the all ages Euro scene for a little bit, right? With 4D events, who MC Armani, who's a good friend of mine too, and it's funny how that whole crew from that has now taken over like the Toronto nightlife scene with like their club Lost and Found, and it's pretty cool. So, and then I got drafted to the hip hop market. And again, I wasn't part of the hip hop market, but then because of my following, I guess I added another cultural element to their parties. And then I stopped emceeing, and then one day somebody said, "Hey, can you MC my wedding?" And boom, that's where it started.
Did you do that one for free?
Of course, yeah. It was for a family friend.
Everybody gets one.
Yeah, everybody gets
Everyone
one.
gets one. But that wedding, like if I can go back in time and say, hey, but actually I do go back in time and I say, hey, because of that one wedding, you know, it really did open up any doors. And I know we're going to talk about giving new advice to the newbies out there.
Yeah.
And that is take advantage of every single opportunity you can, because
Sure.
you do not know what road or doors will open because of it.
How did that wedding go? That first one. How'd you prepare for it?
At that point, you meet with the couple the day, like, a couple nights before, as the gig was just handed to me a couple nights before, and we went through everything. For the introductions, I commented on each person. I was very detail oriented then, instead of just forming what is now the I'm All Talk script.
Wow. Rate your performance then for your first wedding. 1 to 10.
7.
Wow,
Not
pretty
bad.
good, man. Pretty
Not
good,
bad.
man. Pretty good.
Yeah.
And what'd you take in school? Last question for you.
Me, I graduated sociology at York.
Mhm.
And then I went to Medaille College in Amherst, New York, where I got the teaching degree, the Masters of Science in Elementary Education.
All right, let's move over to Angelo, man. How'd you get started as an MC? Because I met you when you were really young, and you were already like kind of killing it. I met you when you were like 18, like 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah.
who got you into it?
So I kind of like Donovan. I mean, I was always around the ethnic parties, always the social clubs, the Italian social clubs, the Portuguese social clubs. I was always, in and around that scene with my parents, and there was one time where I went to the Italian side of the social clubs, and the DJ there, I guess because I love to dance and I love music, and I'm always on the dance floor, and Andy knows that firsthand. But the DJ basically was like, why don't you give this a shot? Why don't you give it a try? You like the music. Why don't you try and MC, or even play? And I did. And I wasn't. I was 14, so I was like, no, like I don't want to do it. Like, who's gonna bring me? Who's gonna bring me home? What time am I gonna stay out late? All that younger stuff. And then I eventually kind of gave in, and I was 15, and I went to go see my first wedding, and it was, ironically enough, my grade 4 teacher's daughter's wedding. So I saw her, and I was like, obviously freaking out, because I was like, oh my gosh, miss, like, hey, and I was handing out sombreros and maracas and cheer sticks, and I just immediately fell in love with it. I fell in love with, be this because I'm an only child, but I fell in love with the attention that I got because of the fact that I was, at the time, just handing stuff out, pretty much. Like, it was just, people would look for you because they knew you had the hats or the sombreros or the cheer sticks or whatever. And then at the time, exactly. And at the time, I was also taking drama in high school. So, I was never really, which again, we'll talk about kind of how it influenced us and the difference between a family member and somebody who's actually trained in emceeing. But yeah, like, I was always on stage, per se. I was always performing, quote unquote. So, emceeing to me was just pretty much an extension of that. and I learned kind of how to adapt to certain situations and do different types of weddings. And with the company that I work with now, and I'm not going to say the name, not for free publicity, but more so because I don't want them to seem like they don't prepare you. But I usually meet the client the day of the wedding. So go ahead, Donovan, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I think that's standard now for professional MCs. For me, like right now, I take my own bookings. So I have the following where people just book me and they trust me and they know who I am. But yeah, like when I worked for the other companies,
you're going in blind.
Yeah, like you go in blind, and that's fine because you're a professional, right?
But I also think that helps you because you learn. You immediately have to judge. Yeah, exactly. You immediately have to judge how you approach these people and how you're going to mold your emceeing that night to cater to the personalities of their guests and of these people. So if these people are like very introverted and scared, or not scared, but more so like very quiet, and that, let's say, being extra interactive, being extra out there is not going to work, then that right away. Then you have to adjust accordingly. But yeah, so I started going out, and luckily enough, the owner of the company I'm with now, my front door neighbor is related to him, and he knew that I was DJing and emceeing with a smaller company at the time, and he asked me, he said, my family member, my close friend, or my compadre, as they say in Italian, trying to think of a word to best describe that, and I can't think of it, is looking for some help. So I went and I sat down for an interview, if you want to call it that. And that was it. And I started going out, and I think I did my first wedding. I was like, 17, 18, something like that. And it was, I'll never forget it. It was in London.
Oh, wow. They sent you all the way out there?
Yeah, It was in London. And it was a very, Canadian, English, Scottish, Irish, Welsh type of, HB paper cakes. Type of manja cake type of thing. And for anybody who doesn't know what a manja cake is, it's a crude Italian word of saying a Canadian person.
Excuse me, I'm not at my
best. Of no spicy background, let's just say. And it was, if I had to rate my performance, I'd say like a 5, a 6-ish. Okay. But that was, I guess, because I didn't really try anything. It was very to the book and to the point. And at the time, I would write my entire introduction out on a piece on the back behind of the agenda, so sure. I, knew the names, et cetera, et cetera. But now, it's just I can recite it when I'm asleep. So I've come a long way, and now, unlike Donovan, I never really got into the clubs. I never, ironically enough, because I was emceeing weddings, I never got the chance to do the clubs on the weekend, because the weekend I was already booked, right?
Yeah.
So that was never really a life that I was a part of, and that was it. And now I'm here, and I'm still emceeing, still DJing, and still with the same company after 8-9 years. What idea?
If you saw me smirking during your story, that's because I'm watching The Sopranos right now. Nice. I haven't seen The Sopranos at all, and I just picture when you said the guy approached you, right? I just picture Paulie saying, "Hey kid, want to make some money?"
You know what? You're not far off. But a little less New Yorker, but yeah, it was kind of the same thing. He's just like, what do you? Kind of creepy. Probably if it was 2019, probably would have called the police, one of the little kids. But he was like, what are you doing this weekend? I was like, I don't know, playing with Tonka trucks. I don't know, some shit, whatever the hell 14-year-olds do. But
yeah, this guy's like, get a suit.
Yes, he's like, put on your tie, put on a suit.
You're gonna be made today.
Yeah.
Come up with.
Yeah, seriously. This show is just brainwashing me right now.
So all Italians now to Donovan or The Sopranos. That's it. Doesn't matter what.
That's it. You're rubbing your hands with the picture of St. Peter.
Now, in terms of like role models ahead of you guys, were there any MCs that you guys modeled yourselves after, or learned from their tricks? Because I know I sure did when I first started. Because we all worked for this company to begin with, and no company is perfect, of course, but I attribute a lot of the things that I do today, especially in front of a crowd, to the different DJs and MCs that I worked with, including you guys. So, did you guys have people like that too?
1,000,000%, yeah.
Actually, not really.
Mm-hmm.
In the club stuff, I had a couple of like the MCs, and I don't know if like a famous MC, his name is Baby U. Sorry, a DJ, his name is Baby U, and his MC RG. I really just followed his style, and I know how to MC to music because of his style. But in terms of like wedding MCs, no, man, I've just been beating to the tune of my own drum, and because like I rarely got to see other MCs do.
Sorry, Donovan. I feel like I think I have to hit on that note. I think people don't realize how hard that is. Sorry, and I have to say,
I was gonna give him his props too.
MCing to music is very difficult. Like people say mixing is hard, but you're almost mixing with your voice because you have to time it properly. So when people listen to Z103 and or let's say like Flow, and people don't notice it because again they don't have the ear for it.
Yeah.
But whoever listens to this, next time you hear a live to air, listen to the DJ loop the song over and over and over and over again until he finishes talking. Just because people are like, oh yeah, you just talk and you just talk over lyrics. You
gotta count bars in your head, man.
Absolutely, and deliver the message you need to before the song kicks in. Sorry, go ahead, Donovan. But I just feel like that was really important to say.
Yeah, no. Well, like some of my interactives that I do, like I'm like, and clap your hands. Here we go. Hey, 1, 2, 3, go.
Boom. The song kicks you. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no. In terms of I basically followed my style. I formed my style. I was very confident with my style. I was a big fan of my own self.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really get to see many MCs do their thing at all.
Even that is pretty impressive to be able to come up with your own style and have it stick this whole time. Because again, like I was completely different in the DJing and MCing. I learned so many tricks from so many guys to get me to where I am today. Extremely impressive, man. Good for you. And
Thank you.
What about you, Ange?
I agree. I mean, I feel like I think because you and I have similar upbringings in terms of our professional environments, I feel like two kind of roads that all of us as MCs have taken. Whereas Donovan was more of a lone wolf type of, I'm going to create my own style. Mm-hmm. I think I was groomed more because of the fact that I had this company around me, this kind of support system around me.
La familia.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
you're so young too, right? And everyone in the company at the time was like, 40s, 45, 50.
Right,
so
and
they felt the need to mentor you.
Absolutely, and I mean, and realistically, I mean, which is, I mean, they're right. I mean, like, would you send a 15-year-old kid to go do a wedding? No, absolutely not. Not. Yeah, exactly. Not. I mean, not by himself per se, but you learned what works and what didn't work, and when to make certain announcements and when to go check up on people at certain times, and I think that's what I guess I got, and I picked up little styles, kind of like Andy said, from different people, because I enjoyed things that they did, and I also didn't like things that they did, because I feel like the response or the reaction that they got when they did that, and again, everybody, whoever is listening, be mindful that every wedding is subjective, and every wedding is very different than the last, but I try and I tried to pick out things that I really enjoyed that people did, and things that didn't work, I tried to kind of leave them alone, while also sprinkling my own Angelo-ness to the whole kind of soup, right? Kind of Salt Bay-ish type of thing. I look like him with the glasses, and I think that's what people find so hard. And again, like Donovan said earlier in the podcast, we'll kind of give it our own advice, but I think that's what what people always think is the hardest thing, is to find that happy medium between copying someone and then not learning anything from somebody, and then in the middle of having both while also being yourself and being recognizable as MC Donovan or MC Angelo or MC Andy, or Acie, rather say Ace Woogie for the OGs. So You know what I mean? I
Respect
think
my
that's yeah, exactly. So I think
Say my name.
yeah, I think that's something that's important, right? Is that people have to know what they are and what their kind of characteristics and traits are. I know I don't want to make you emotional, Donovan. You don't have to cry.
No, no. No, but I think people have to have confidence. They have to be confident to do this. You can't go in there not being confident. You have to have a little bit of yourself that, like almost like a character, come out when you're on. Because when I'm not on the mic, I'm a pretty quiet person, right? If I don't have a set task to do, I'm sitting in the back, just chilling, having my beer and watching. That's me, right? But
Do you guys still
yeah,
get that
no.
adrenaline rush before you guys go on?
I think it depends.
You know, the only reason why I'm like kind of forced to say yes is because someone told me before, if you don't get those butterflies in your stomach, it means you don't care. And I don't want to come across to say I don't care, but I've done it so many
Yeah.
times.
I think that's what it is.
I've done it so many times that it's like, okay. But I really try and I really make sure I don't mess up a name. I really
Sure.
stick to the script. Yeah.
I think it's the kilometers that we have, dare I say it, on our voices that I guess, you don't necessarily get spooked anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not in a condescending or like a negative way. I guess it's more so because like, again, it goes back to confidence. You know what you're doing and you know what you have to do and you know that you will do a good job. And yes, there will be hiccups. You'll who knows? Your mic will run out of batteries. Your receiver will stop working. You'll cut out halfway. Yeah, you'll mess up a name. You'll cut out through the introductions. You'll something, anything. But again, it's and I learned this in drama. Nobody will know if you mess up unless you show that you mess up. Nobody will know that you have forgotten a line unless you show that you forgot a line. So if you just keep talking as if nothing happened, nobody knows.
No one knows. And no one really will remember.
No, not even close.
Yeah.
But I
Not
do
even
have
close.
the king mess up line for me. And it's actually how I met my wife.
Nice.
Yeah, she was a bridesmaid at a wedding and I was the MC. And her cousin's name is Sean. And when I did the grand introduction for Sean and his wife, I said Chris.
Chris.
Exactly. Why? I have no idea why I said Chris. Still to this day, I had no weddings around me with the name Chris. It just came out.
Nothing around.
Just came out. So for me, that was one of those things where, yes, people noticed, right?
Yeah. People notice that.
People are like,
Ooh.
what? And then after, but it's how you recover. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on with me here, but one more time, let's make some noise for Sean. And I recovered. Boom, like hands down.
Speaking of like being spooked, like what's the most spooked you guys have ever been before a gig? And it must have been early on in your career, probably, I'm assuming.
I would have to say, and by the way, I want to just tackle one more thing.
Yeah.
I know, Angelo, it's like you're probably up there in Vaughan doing a lot of the gigs and working with the same halls. But like, so for you, I could see how like you're like home base most of your gigs, right?
100%. 100%.
Yeah. So I think sometimes like when I like I'm constantly traveling now and I'm changing things up. So every time I go into like a new territory, right? A new place, new type of wedding, that's when I get those little bit of butterflies.
Yeah.
Like last month I did a Nigerian and Chinese wedding. But I'm embracing the change. But something that spooked me out, I am doing very well in the Tamil wedding market. But their last names,
Oh my God, they're like that.
Yeah.
they are hard. I would be sweating Like I'm sweating during the introductions. I'm telling the DJs, please keep the music loud, loud, because I'm gonna be. I'm like, it's so scary. But now I'm very comfortable.
Do you always do last names though, for introductions?
Because of that, I only do the bride and groom last name and the parent last names.
Yeah.
For everyone else, they get their first names read.
Oh,
so those are the things that spook me out. Are like when there's a very hard name in there.
I feel like though when there are such ethnic names like that, like for example, you said you're doing you did a Nigerian Chinese wedding. I think at that point people also know you're not going to get the ethnic pronunciation. Like you know what you're going to get. Like for example, sometimes people for whatever reason, I don't know why, they're shocked that I said their last name properly, be it Italian or Portuguese or French or Spanish or whatever. They're like, oh wow, like you said that correctly, and I'm like, yeah, like of course, like that's the least I can do. But obviously with like a Nigerian last name, like an African last name, or a South Asian last name, sometimes, a lot of the times it's very difficult. And the Tamil last names, the Sri Lankan last names are like 15 letters long, 9 letters long, a lot of them repeated. So, you sound like kind of like a BMX bike kind of starting on and on, like bram, 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 bram. And I work with like 3 of them. So
it's hard. It's
difficult. Super difficult.
Because like you're put on the spot.
Absolutely. And when you're good enough, people listen to you and they know who you are. And they're like, okay, cool. How's Angelo going to pull himself out of this one? How's Donovan going to pull himself out of this one? How's Andy going to pronounce this name? Like it's when you start getting your, like Donovan said, your following and your repertoire, precedes you, your reputation precedes you, then you got to put some emphasis on trying to make sure that you pronounce these names correctly, or else, I mean, God knows what will happen, right?
You think it's the fact that the Italians are spending so much money on their weddings is that they feel that way?
I think so.
I think the wedding industry too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just because in my world of the South Asian world, like I've been doing a couple of things, and then people see it, people like it, then the other guys start duplicating it, right? And then they start doing their own twist on it, and then they got their own thing, and now it's almost like, okay, now I got to come up with some new things here.
I mean, it's outside the wedding industry too, in a sense of that. Again, with a lot of things that they do, and I had this conversation because my wedding this past weekend was Portuguese and Italian, and I love those weddings.
What about you, Don? You have any preferences for the type of wedding?
I really love doing the top 40 style weddings, for whether it be Portuguese, Canadians, just because I get to do things that I don't get to do in the South Asian scene, which are kissing games. I love those things. They're fun.
Really?
Yeah. Well, no. I've only seen one South Asian couple kiss at a wedding. Oh, wow. One. And I love doing the Indian weddings. I love doing the Sri Lankan weddings. Like they're fun, and they're they're really pushing the boundaries of creativity. And the South Asian wedding scene, I think it's a world class institution for the industry, just because the amount of money that's being spent on the backdrops, the halls. You got some world class DJs. It's really transforming into something special. However, with those positives come some negatives, and that is sometimes like the drinking at these weddings can be bad, and where you have the bride and groom making a speech and you got 90 people, drunk people at the bar, and sometimes it's your job to make sure that those people are silent.
Absolutely.
And sadly, it's a very proud community too. You say the wrong thing to the wrong person, and there's it's bad. And so that's where you got to be very your diplomatic side has to come out. Your inner instincts, your spidey senses have to come out. You got to know how, who, when, and what to say to the right person. And you got to be very smart about that. Otherwise, it can go wrong.
And again, I think that leads into another topic that we're probably going to cover, hopefully. is what's the difference between like a family member doing it and us doing it, a professional trying to calm down a room or trying to, and again, there's always room for familiarity, and there's always room for, being fun and breaking the fourth wall, but there's also a very, very fine line between, telling someone to F off and be quiet, which I've heard relatives do,
for sure,
more than once, when they just can't figure out how to shut people up, basically. And then when you come off as rude and you come off as power hungry. So just like Donovan said, in cultures that are very, very proud of themselves and the masculinity thing is huge, for someone to tell me to be quiet at my relative's wedding
while your relative is like speaking at the
while my relative is speaking, who has no relation to you, I mean, how could you dare? How dare you? Right? And I think that's what it is, right? It's that very, very fine line.
I've only had one really bad experience because I'm really good at what I do. So I know how to talk and I know how to maneuver. This guy, he was just out looking for trouble. And I hope he wasn't looking for trouble with me. He was like 6'7", 300 and something pounds. And he's just like, he's thinking everyone's out to get him. Everyone has something to say.
Oh, great.
So at wedding number 1, I met him. He grabs me like by here, and he's like, "There's an artist coming here, and if you disrespect him, I'm gonna have you." But I'm like, whoa, I don't even know who the artist is, man. Like, I'm like the white brown guy doing this, dude. I'm not the typical Indian wedding MC. And then I saw him a year later at another wedding, and he comes up to me. He's like, "Why are you punking me? Why are you so rude to me?" I'm like,
what?
"Oh man." Yeah. I'm like, "I remember where you're from."
That 1 year.
Yeah. I'm like, "You're from Calgary." I started listing his whole history. Like, "I remember you. You were very nice to me the last time I saw you." And he goes to me, "Yeah, I'm just I'm just rich and I'm spoiled, so I'm gonna be rude to you." I'm like, "There we go. At least you're honest, man."
Thanks for admitting it to me, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm like, "I'm gonna shake your hand and I'm gonna go over there now." But see, that's like the way I have to talk. You have to. Sometimes you just have to put your head down. Absolutely. Let these guys belittle you for the. I have a nice face. I want my face to be in one tack.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. It's that's where we become the hired clowns, as I like to, humbly put myself.
The less glamorous side of what we do.
Yeah.
For sure. So yeah, let's just get into that topic then about what you guys think makes a good MC and what separates us from, the family members or even the people who are, I guess we could call them amateurs.
I am still shocked that we haven't been recognized as we yet. Why every wedding doesn't have a professional MC. I don't know if any of you saw this, but there was something I started last month where it was the International Wedding MC Day. I don't know if it popped up on any of your feed.
Yeah, I did. I was going to say I did, yeah.
Yeah, so it was something that I'm like, listen, we need to start, because like I'm part of these world committees of MCs from like different continents, and everyone's like, "Oh, we need to do this. We need to." I'm like, let's do something. So I have a whole rue of fun things I'm going to be doing this year to really put a mark to say, hey, you know what? You have a doctor, you have a lawyer, you have a wedding DJ. Now people need to know the wedding MC. There are things that we can do that your family members cannot do, that your friends cannot do. Hire us. Like there is a such thing. But the sad thing is there are a lot of crummy professional wedding MCs that are deterring people's decision for the future. And that's the sad thing. That's why I'm saying the good ones really need to start advocating. Otherwise,
Well, the DJs are tossing it in for free sometimes too, right? The DJs are offering it for free. It's like, you know what? I'll MC your wedding for you if you book me as a DJ. I mean,
yeah, and that needs to stop.
No, of course. Like, you get what you pay for it. Listen. I'll show you my pricing list right now. It ain't cheap.
Yeah, actually, never mind. Yeah, he does, because he calls me. He's like, "Hey, man,
what
are you doing
this
day?
guy if I need to get an MC." Yeah. So that tells you that.
What are things that we do that other people don't? I mean, like, you want the list in alphabetical order or numerical? I mean, it goes back to to the fundamentals of how you speak, of where you get your voice from, of warming up your voice before you speak, of knowing not to, like, let's say, drink beer before you talk or drink Pepsi before you talk because you can burp on the mic, which I've heard happen before. You can hiccup on the mic.
Knowing how to talk into the mic is important.
Exactly.
Too.
Knowing how to speak into the microphone, to how close or how far, knowing how to cheat out, which again, in drama terms is basically try to have as little of your back to the audience as possible, which again it's hard because in a sense, when you MC, it's almost like classical theater where you're in an arena almost, and you have to be able to turn appropriately at appropriate times when you enunciate certain words. And again, you have to be able to captivate your audience that someone who's muttering into a microphone obviously does not do. Your uncle who, I don't know, did seminars when he was 18, obviously is not going to be able to captivate an audience of 400 people that are professionally trained. And I know that some people are like, well, how hard is it to MC? What professionals are you? Like, what does that mean, professional? And again, that's exactly what I said.
Or the local celebrities that get to host weddings.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I'm a news broadcaster, and I'm here to host your wedding. Why? Don't know.
No idea.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Somebody was telling me, I can't remember who it was.
Well, wasn't it Tony?
Anyways, yes, it was.
That's the one.
Where apparently
Tony's good though. Tony can handle it.
I don't know if it was Tony or if it was George. There's the Iceman. It was one of them. I don't know. Somebody from that radio station. And he was just trembling, like absolutely shivering to go in front of these people. And I don't know if he made the story up or not. But again, people assume that because you're behind a mic, sitting in front of a microphone on a radio, that you automatically know how to, I guess, compose yourself in front of a group of people.
A live crowd, yeah.
A live crowd that is, not to be dramatic, that is literally living and breathing and paying attention to what you're saying. That's why I guess the expression of face for radio is it is what it is, right? Because I mean, you're not talking to anybody per se that will react to you immediately. I mean, you're protected by your mic.
I mean, we mentioned things earlier, like the connection that you make with the crowd, crowd control, like adjusting on the fly. These are all important things as well.
Yeah, it's like the one-man show. I don't know. The thing is, public speaking. Yes, you can learn it, and if you have a good mentor, I'm sure they can teach you the ropes, and with practice, it's good. But for some people, it's second nature. It is their internal instinct that obviously has made them a success to begin with, and you got to have that natural instinct of when to do things. Should I do this game now? Like, I've been, like, for example, last Saturday I was in New Jersey doing a wedding, and the DJ's like, no, don't do a game, because here, wedding, like, and when I say here, I'm in New York. Here, they don't do wedding games that much, and I'm like, trust me, I have a feeling. You gotta trust me on this one. I gotta go for it. And
I think those are important too, Donovan. The feelings, those little things you get that other people don't.
The instinct,
You don't, and I'll let you finish, but you can't explain it. It's just.
No, it's called rapport.
Yeah, like it's there. Like it's there.
Like a mother's instinct with her children,
right?
An MC's instinct with their crowd. It's a gift. And I tell people, I can't explain it. You're right. I can't. It's like I step there and I feel people's energy.
Yeah.
And I sound like some sort of sick maniac when I'm saying that, but it's the truth, though. I'm sitting there and I can literally pick up things that a general person can't pick up on.
Are you still, like, speaking of your games and the activities that you guys run, are you still learning and evolving, like trying to learn new games, new routines?
I'm constantly just learning from like for example, I was in Mexico last week, not for work, for fun, and I'm watching the MCs. I'm just listening to them and seeing if I can pick up. Yeah. Senora.
Yeah. Okay. They're out there teaching the dollar wine and everything too.
Hey, don't knock the dollar wine. I mean, that's what it is. I think you have to constantly innovate. And I mean, I think, again, Andy, I think good on you, man. You picked two two very opposite sides of the spectrum. Good on you, Andy. And nice round of applause for Andy, ladies and gentlemen. But again, I think because I think the difference between the South Asian community and then and I mean, so you have South Asians and then you have the quote unquote regular Asians, the Chinese, the Koreans, the Japanese, who also adore games.
Oh, yeah,
they just want games
like, nonstop. Like it's like honestly, it's like a game show.
Right? Yeah, it's
and then where you have, you know, on the other side of the world, you have the you know, the Western Europeans who are very down to business, and games are not a thing, but dancing in between courses is, right? So, and then you also have to understand that, I mean, like, you know, I've emceed in Italy and I've emceed in France, and the concept of a wedding somewhere other than here, and here again, I'm in Toronto, something somewhere other than Toronto is very, very different. Like, weddings overseas, at least in the countries that I've worked in and the countries that I've been to and attended weddings, I mean, I've been in school gyms where the party has been amazing. And I've been in rustic castles where the party there was no dancing and no MCs and no nothing, and it was just a simple service. But again, the DJ there is, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. And I've done weddings in Italy, like I've emceed weddings in Italy where, you know, people have asked me, well, aren't you going to sing a song? And I said, I'm sorry. But again, because the MC, the DJ, doubles as a singer, doubles as a comic, doubles as an entertainer. Where, you know, again, in like, and that's what I'm saying, and we're kind of touching on the DJing side of it. You know, here, DJs don't work until, I don't know, what, 9:30, 10 o'clock? That's when you start pumping out your actual dancing music. There, I mean, first of all, you're served dinner at 10 o'clock, and the DJ's already playing music. And if you want to dance, you can dance. If you don't want to dance, who cares? Just sit down.
Yeah, it's more laid back.
It's just, it's a festive time. And again, and people think that MCing is just talking. It's not. Not that we have to sing and tell jokes like you know, like in other places, like
control.
Yeah, you know, like
it's person control, it's energy control. It is so many things, man. And yeah, weddings around the world are different. Now, do you know the MCs out in Australia? They greet every single person that enters the door, and they stay there and greet everyone as they leave.
Wow,
nice.
Man, that's a lot of work.
As they leave.
I like the greeting thing though, because I feel like that's when you. Yeah. But the leaving, I mean, no, I wouldn't.
Because they're all
see you later,
so
Rick.
Different times. Yeah. But it's pretty cool though. Like every time someone enters, you can build such a good rapport.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, like based on the way I've done things, based on like the way I do things. I want my voice to be special, though, right?
Yeah.
I want to like see. I'm trying to transform this, like where, really, the wedding MC is it. Like when he starts, you guys keep quiet because it is time for the show. Get ready, and so I'm, you know, I guess here, like I'm almost like creating like my own little world where I'm trying to like really say, hey, this is the way it should be done.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's less work for the MC to do, so that way you don't have to do the whole hello, yes, hello, yes, hello, yes, hello, nice to meet you. Like, no, thank you, man.
Well, one of the criticisms that people have for MCs versus, you know, hiring someone who's in your family, like a brother, a coworker who's funny, an uncle, is that sometimes the MC could take over the show a little bit, and it's a wedding, right? It's not like a variety show or anything. So, what do you have to say about that, Don? Do you ever let that get to you? You ever feel like it's your show sometimes, like when you're at these weddings?
Yeah, but like the people that are hiring me for that reason.
Exactly, that's true.
If you don't want that, there are plenty of MCs at your disposal. By all means, you can go there. And I've come to that point, and I don't want to sound cocky, and I hope I'm not going to come across as sounding that. It's just I've done the whole ringer. I've sat there before where the DJ companies only want me to go on and, you know, MC to the music. Like I've kind of done it all. So I found my niche. I know what I want, and like I know the type of clients I want. And I'm thinking, if you're calling me now as an independent MC, you've somewhat heard of me or you want my style.
For sure.
And yeah, so I hope I'm not coming across as
No,
cocky.
you've built that
or
brand
arrogant.
for yourself, right? You've built that brand. You have the videos. You
agree.
have the testimonials, right?
Yeah.
So
But
they
if-
know
yeah, so
exactly
like-
what they're getting.
Yeah, so if they say, hey, no, we just really just want you to come make a couple of announcements, I'm like, I'm sorry, like
I'm not for you.
yeah, I'm not for you. Like
Yeah.
I'm here to make my my job fun. I'm here to make your wedding memorable, and announcements isn't my thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of, oh, sorry, go ahead, Angelo.
No, I mean, I agree. I completely agree, and I feel like, again, it always takes one bad experience. Oh, geez.
Shit. There goes that.
Are you ready to rumble?
Are you holding that thing up with post-it notes or something?
No. Watch my wife run in here. Is everything okay?
But again, nobody will know. I mean, he didn't flinch, so he was like, "Yeah, just
Exactly.
keep it
He's a
going."
pro. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And here she is, peeking through the door, seeing if everything's okay. Everything is fine.
Looks
Okay, sweetheart. Thank you. But, no, I mean, I tend to agree, and I think it, like I said, it always takes one person to ruin it for everybody else. But I mean, again, I'm glad we all worked last Saturday, because I think we all have stories from our respective events. But even last Saturday, again, don't be too in people's face. That was my little instruction that I had, and again, I was myself, and I ended up doing, the YMCA and the Dollar Wine and Rasputin and every other interactive dance you could have possibly thought of with them, and they didn't think I was in their face. So again, did they have one bad experience with one, I guess, quote unquote bad MC, and they're like, you know what, I don't trust any other ones? Yeah, that could have been, absolutely. But they loved me, and at the end of the night they said again, thank you, like, you were amazing, and this and that and the other thing. And again, so I think, like we said before, and we touched upon it before, is it's feeling, it's that knowing when you can and when you cannot. I think that's what's important.
Yeah, I just want to also add on that too, that I know how to make the bride and groom the superstars, at the same time raising the energy levels of the room.
Yeah.
I'm very experienced in that. I know how to big up the parents. I know who to big up. At the same time, I can still do myself and keep the energy high, but at the same time, make the people who are the superstars the superstars.
Yeah.
It's professionalism.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You gotta strike that sweet balance, for sure. So are you guys still having fun doing what you guys are doing? You guys still find this rewarding every time you go out there?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. But there's so much more that's to come, though. That's the thing.
Sure.
There's so much more to come, and especially because the thing is, there is no standard while the standard's being created.
That's true.
I don't know if that makes sense.
I mean, it's kind of like your career is just rolling along, kind of thing. What do you mean?
Yeah, and there's no history to go back, and so right now it's just being creative and inventing and being innovative to really let this thing go on 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now.
Is that how long you see yourself doing this for?
No, I'm talking about the future of MCs.
Future of MCing.
Yeah. I got another maybe 10 years left in me.
That's it, eh? What about you, Angelo? You got a ton of years left. You got like 10 years until you're my age. Like.
Of only MCing. Yeah. Of only MCing, I would say, a solid maybe 10. Of DJing, I don't know. DJing is a little bit tougher.
Yeah, it's a lot more labor.
Yeah, a lot more labor involved. It's a little bit more psychologically draining, I guess, in a sense. But I mean, if I had to go solely based on MCing, I think if I were to concentrate more on my brand as an MC, as me per se, yeah, for sure. Then I could see myself doing shit. I mean, I could see myself doing this until I was like,
50s
40,
60s maybe.
Now I know who we know, Angelo.
Who?
We know Johnny Bisogno,
I think so.
Johnny
Yeah.
B. Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I
yeah,
think so. Yeah.
yeah. The thing is too that I think MC's got to be aware of, and I think anybody has to be aware of in this business is the burnout. The burnout is real.
Yeah.
And it's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, you're like that crying actress on the inside or actor on the inside, but can shine and do well. But like, you really do suffer inside. And if you want to talk about that, I can raise
Yeah, sure. Why not?
because
Let's
that's
get into it.
yeah, that to me is real. It happened last year.
Mm-hmm.
I was working full time, and I did a record of like 80 weddings in a year. And I think after 60 something, I just started getting like numb to it. And obviously, I'm loving the money coming in, and I'm like, I'm enjoying going out. But at this point, like I'm just going in there like brain works. I'm coming back. I'm not getting proper sleep.
Was that some
Yeah.
two-a-days too? I guess.
Pardon me.
Some two-a-days as well, eh?
A couple of them 2 days, right? I'm actually about to do something pretty cool, which I'm now kind of nervous for as I'm talking about this. But I'm about to do 3 weddings in 24 hours.
That's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, in 3 different states.
Jesus.
So yeah,
Good
I'm
luck.
excited.
In 3 different time zones.
3 different time zones. But towards like the end, I just remember I was not good. I was just like on robot mode. I was
Yeah.
tired,
That's the worst.
and
Yeah.
it takes. And what people don't understand, it's not like a week's worth of rest that gets you over burnout.
No.
It's a couple of months to really get you off burnout. And ever since then, I made it apparent that I'm going to be taking less and less and less bookings.
I felt that way too. Angelo, how about you? Because right now you're still working for a company.
Yeah.
So you're kind of at their mercy a little bit. But you do take a little bit of time off every summer, so that's pretty good. But what's your experience with burnout?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to, again, the whole thing of what makes us different than the whole homegrown type of MC. Again, the fundamental thing is that, again, this is a show. It is a show, and again, we are in a sense acting and performing for you. So yeah, absolutely, that it gets mentally, physically, emotionally exhausting. Where you want to rest, and you kind of can't, because let's say you have a lot of you have this chatter in your head before you go to bed. What could I have done better? What could I have not done? What could I have actually done? Tomorrow night, what am I going to do if this happens again? How am I going to fix this? And again, and I mean, Donovan's right, man. You reach the end of a season, let's say, if you have, I mean, with Donovan, it seems the season never ends, which God bless you, man. I hope you continue like that. But
No.
You got create
Again,
your own off season, then.
yeah, you don't. You need to stop. You need to just pause. And again, and I've been blessed enough that, I take my, let's say, 4 weeks or 5 weeks minimum off during the summer, and the company I work for has come to grips with that, and that's been ever since I've started, but yeah, it's hard. It really, really is. And again, if you have a girlfriend, you can't talk to her. Why? Because you're always delegating. You're always delegating responsibilities and finding out who's speaking next, and checking in with the hall captain for the room that you're in, and the food, and this and that and the other thing, and you're never on your phone. And then from there that can start an argument, and then you come home and you're still arguing, and then you can't sleep because you're arguing, and then the next day again, it's just this snowball of things that just keeps on coming and going, and and it never stops. And that's why sometimes, again, you have to just.
And when you're on the mic, your personal life is on
Oh
hold.
yeah.
It is on hold.
You do not for 1 second let anybody know you're having an issue at home. Not
Yeah.
one moment.
Yeah, me personally, it's been my actual health being affected, right? Because I'm working out of 2 cities between Ottawa and Toronto. I got my full-time job still. I'm a dad now too. It's killing me. So I'm really gonna start winding it down next year, I think, when it comes down to the DJing. Try to do more of this stuff, right? Where I can work from home.
I
Yeah.
think I think one of the things, again, I think Donovan, you touched upon it, is, you see the money, and it almost becomes an addiction, where it's just one more wedding, just one more gig, like that's, and just one more X amount for on this check, just one more, like I just one more, I want to do this, or I want to go on this vacation, or I want to blah blah blah, and that just one more keeps on going. Again, it just keeps on going.
The next comes in, it's hard to turn away, right?
Exactly, right, and I think that's what it is with me with the DJing, and again, I'm still young, but again, is the retirement thing is, I didn't go out with my friends, I didn't go to clubs, I didn't have my partying phase, I didn't. I was busy weekends. I've missed birthdays and May 2/4s and whatever else you want to call
holidays, everything, man.
I've missed
holidays, birthdays, anniversaries.
Looking back now at 25 years old, I mean, am I still young? Absolutely, I am. 1,000%. But
25?
Yeah, 25.
Yeah. Oh man, you got enjoy it.
But you miss your buddy's 19th. You miss your buddy's 21, 22, 23, 24, until you start reaching a point where you're like, man, pardon my French, I can't fucking do this anymore. I need time for myself, for my friends to, you become a hermit in a sense, because if you have your full-time job during the week and then you DJ or MC during the weekend, who are you seeing? Who do you have time left for? Yeah. Right? The little time that you have, you need to recoup for yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, and I think that's what it is. But again, the money, as much as I adore what I do, the money is very important. And I say that not in a greedy way. I really, really don't. And I really hope that people don't misinterpret what I'm saying. But it's the fact that you have to come to terms with not having that income. If you choose to retire, if you choose to take yourself out of this life, you have to understand that the next job you have, you probably will not make this same money in one day. That's the thing. It's this 12-hour period, let's say, to be generous, that you get a nice, a solid income boost. And I think that's the hardest thing to come to terms with is the fact that this income that you count on for a number of things will not be there anymore. I think that's what it is for me. I think that's one of the hard things for me. And again, I don't want anybody to misconstrue,
sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't think anybody is or should be, because what you're doing is you're managing the expectations of your mind, right? It's like, okay, you're saying, hey, during this X amount of period, yes, this is it. Yeah. Because even now that I've cut back, obviously the money's cut back, but I'm okay with that, right? Because I'm just saying, hey, these are the days I'm going out. These are the days I want to do this. These are the days I want to be off. I'm really trying to have my cake and eat it too at the same time.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Like, and I think for me, marriage was a huge blessing because it's kind of like, okay, I can't be out every weekend.
Of course.
Right? I want to spend time with my wife, so I'm kind of setting that time aside. And yeah, it took some adjusting, but while I was engaged, I forced myself to take those times so that way when when I'm here as a married man,
you slowly weaned yourself off of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's like saving money.
Of course.
You got to practice putting that money in the account. You got to before it becomes second nature. So now it's like you got to practice not making money. For it to happen. Oh man, this is deep.
Man, we're getting psychological.
We're all questioning our career choices now and stuff.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. No, but like this is we really do have some of the best jobs ever. Yes, they provide an extra amount of income. Where we could do many things with it, right? It depends what you want to do with it. And yeah, if you're not doing it, if you're not vigilant and you're not smart about it, that money can vanish very quickly.
Well, and that's part of the reason why I keep coming back every year is because in my off season it does vanish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like you
it does.
realize of how much it helps you.
Honestly, just back to your point earlier, Angelo, is like sometimes like I'm so used to working at parties now that I've pretty much almost forgot how to party without actually DJing. You feel that way too?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I like, and again, and I know with Andy and I, because we also DJ, and I don't know, Donovan, if you also have dabbled in DJing. No, not at all.
No, not at all.
So lucky you, because man, you cannot not hear the next song coming.
Yeah.
God damn, you cannot not hear that dude mixing it that next song. It's not even fun anymore. Like you could
You can't
like,
enjoy yourself
Yeah,
anymore.
no,
can't,
you
can't.
can. Honestly,
Yeah,
like,
it's
buddy, I like, you know how many times I make, like, this is gonna sound stupid. You know how many times, like, I do it as a bar trick. Like, buy me a drink. I'll tell you the next song that's coming. Yeah, and I get it right. And it's like, blah, 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 X, this song. And they're like, oh my gosh, how'd you do that? I don't know, man. I have like a sixth sense. But you hear it all. You hear it all. And yeah, you forget how to party. You
Yeah.
forget how to, like,
You can do that as an MC.
oh,
Like,
for sure.
I was like even in Mexico, like my wife and I were just chilling in the pool, and I'm emceeing to the music. I'm like, "Get your hands up, hands up, hands!" Like I'm like, there's no more normal anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's once you're an MC, you're an MC for life.
It's like, shut up, Don. I know.
Yeah, it changes you, big time. But yeah, no, I totally empathize with you on that. It's like you don't get to
Forget how to
enjoy
party.
it.
All right, let's get into the section now about, advice for people who want to get into emceeing and public speaking in general. Do you feel like public speaking is a skill that everybody should have? And what's the importance of it in your life, even let's say if you're not emceeing or...
I like this question.
Yes. I think everyone has the ability to do it. Again, you just need a great mentor. But yes, everybody should be learning to public speak, especially now.
I agree.
Especially now that, and this is the teaching side coming out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always teach my students, you got to learn how to communicate your answers. No one could read your stuff, no one could read your head. I don't care if you want to act it out. I don't care if you want to show me through drawings and everything. You got to find a way to communicate your answers. You got to use words and something else. Because
Your work.
show your work.
Yeah.
But like, make me understand, right? Especially now with kids with bad penmanships. I'm not that teacher that's going to mark you bad because you can't write properly. No, I want to listen to the content you have to say. I want you to learn how to explain yourself, so that way you get your voice across and you don't come across a small-minded individual that's just going to mark you on your, on your presentation on handwriting, right? And then the kids and their phones, they're really losing that interaction between each other. They got to learn how to have a conversation. They got to learn how to articulate with their voice, and that is a dying breed. So yes, everybody from the time they're young should learn how to communicate.
So what about you, Angelo? What do you think?
Absolutely. Again, I'm kind of biased because I come from a theater background, so I'm so biased. But I mean, again, I 100%, like, communication is so key, and again, I don't know, I always feel like I always go back to the whole psychological aspect of it, but I think, like, I read all of these, like, things on the internet where it's like, oh, like, guys are afraid of their emotions and can't speak about their emotions. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I've been bitching about shit I don't like my whole life, or like I've been telling my girlfriends that I love them or I hate them or I cried.
Just ask my
times.
exes.
Like, yeah, seriously, like, what I mean? Andy's been there for all of them, so you know what I mean?
My own
So
stories too.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so communication is so key, and I mean, for any guys that are listening and they're like, oh, girls don't like me, man, maybe you gotta communicate. Like, tell them what you feel and what you like and what you don't like. And again, public speaking is so important, because I get it, and not, especially in today's day and age where everybody can be literally anything they want, and everybody can can claim that they have every type of mental, whatever it may be, introvertedness or whatever, and I get it. Some people are just wired different than others. I understand. And Donovan, as a teacher, I'm sure you've seen it all, but again, there's going to be a point in your life where you come in contact with another human being.
Yeah.
That's just inevitable. And you don't have to have amazing people skills.
Yeah.
But social cues are important.
Oh,
The way that a conversation must flow, and the ebb and the flow, and the give and the take of a conversation is important. To be able to exchange ideas and know when to stop talking, know when to let someone else talk, know when to include someone else or chime in or chime out or whatever it may be. That is so important.
If we can pull it all the way back down to MC, and I think again the question was about like our message for people who need to develop these skills, these communication skills, and I agree with you guys on all fronts about having to boost these communication skills. But I come from a bit of a different place than you guys. You guys seem like you're more natural speakers in front of people, extroverts. You know, you were a drama kid, and you know Donovan started off in the clubs. For me, every time I go out there, I still get the jitters a little bit because I feel like, to me, it's a comfort zone thing, right? And I feel the more you push yourself out of your comfort zone and get comfortable outside of your comfort zone, the more you grow as a person.
that's where you grow.
Yeah. So to me, that's the fulfillment that I get from MC and going in front of a crowd and learning and just keep on putting myself out there. So I think my message for everyone is that I believe anyone could really do this, right? And you should never be afraid to hop out of that comfort zone. So if anyone's watching and is interested in getting into MC, I have all of our contact information down at the bottom of the podcast. You can reach out to either one of us, ask us, pick our brain a little bit about how to get into the industry and how to get out there and how to start doing presentations, how to talk to people better, how to build your communication skills.
I think to add on to what you said, Andy,
go ahead,
I think it's I think again, I mean, look, you know, I mean, hopefully we don't deter anybody from emceeing from what we've said. But again, I mean, emceeing is not for anybody. Or rather, it's not for everybody. It's not. It really isn't. Mm-hmm. And again, you know, take it from, you know, whomever may be listening. Take it from Andy. You know, from someone who he himself admitted. You know, not the most extroverted person in the world, but still MCs, and still sometimes you have to jump. You know, sometimes you have to just, you know, take the plunge and try it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and again, and it's not for everyone, and it is nerve-wracking. It is, you know, and I usually say this, and I usually make this announcement when I can't get people's attention, and I have the little murmur of people whispering and chatting while there's the very scared bridesmaid or the very nervous brother of the groom, you know, saying a speech. And I tell people on the microphone, on video, on camera, whatever it may be, ladies and gentlemen, if I may kindly ask you, please remain silent. As many of you do not understand how difficult it is to speak in front of 300 in excess people, of how difficult it is to gather yourself and your composure and gather your voice and try and read something that you've rehearsed once in the past 6 months. You know, and people usually kind of relax after that. But again, because at first glance, people don't get it. People don't understand why it's hard. Why is he sweating? Why how come he's stuttering all the time? Why can't he do it? Why can't you just read? Well, it's not that easy. Yeah. You know, it's not that easy.
Well, we make it look easy. That's probably why.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's wrap this up because we're almost like an hour and a half now. So do you guys have any final messages for the audience? Anything you guys like to say?
I guess like my website, www.imalltalk.com. And of course, I have launched, I guess, Toronto's or North America's first wedding MC agency, which is www.imalltalkmc.com.
Okay, cool.
That's
man.
it.
Well, tell us a little bit about that company then. So you're finding guys from all over the continent or what?
Yeah, so what it was is just like I was turning down a lot of bookings, and I'm just like, I'm really upsetting bride and grooms here. Like they don't get an MC, and then to refer people through another company, then we're looking like with like the cuts of those companies. It's almost like a third hand party. So I said, okay, let me find a couple good guys. Work with them. Some of them have been public speakers. Some of them have not been public speakers, and kind of teach them the ropes of wedding emceeing. And and they're out there this season, you know, doing their own gigs. They're doing the gigs I can't do, but they're killing it. And I'm really happy that we're all a team here. And I got some really cool things happening in the future. If we could do a part 2 in a couple of months, I'll be able to fill you in by then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So just because like there's a lot of things growing, and I'm telling you, like I'm really trying to be innovative, or I'm trying to be innovating, to really push the envelope to really kind of say, hey, wedding emceeing is a thing.
We definitely need that for sure.
So yeah, so that's all my stuff. All
Awesome.
my social media is on there, and yeah, that's it.
And you, Ange, what you got going on?
Not as proactive as Donovan, but I mean, my Instagram is angeloc.m. It's going to be a lot of travel photos. I'm hopefully this summer going to be able to start kind of a little travel vlog, if you want to call it that, do some videos. And just, I mean, I think I'm pretty approachable in a lot of senses. So if anybody wants to drop me a line, that's kind of an old reference, but
Yeah.
if you want to DM me or anything like that,
okay.
be it about
all the honeys out there.
yeah,
Bring
all the
on my
honeys out there.
celly.
Yeah, but if you want to talk about emceeing or traveling or any advice that you want as opposed to traveling and what you should or shouldn't do or what type of mentality you should have if you should travel or if you should start emceeing, feel free to take a look and send me a message. My profile is open, so I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
I'm looking forward to seeing you grow, Angelo. I know you got a lot of years left, and I've always kind of pushed you and for us even to work together to build your brand up, because you definitely have something special compared to other MCs.
I like working with you, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's always a good
we're
time.
a great team, man. Just no one could afford us though. That's the problem.
I mean, damn, isn't that usually the issue?
Yeah,
So
yeah. And Don, you too, man. Thanks so much for coming on. Like, you are definitely the best at what you do, and I'm so honored to have you on. And we're both great wrestling fans too, so I'm also honored to call you a friend.
Part 2, yeah,
for sure. So guys, thank you both for agreeing to come on. Everyone else who's listening, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please like, share, and subscribe. And you guys, I'm so looking forward to seeing you guys again in Toronto sometime when we catch up, because we're all in 3 different cities now.
I say 3 months from now we come back, we do part 2.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm so down.
And let's hear just for the end of it, I'm going to show people my eyes.
Yeah, let's show our eyes here. Angelo, come on, show the ladies. All right.
There we go.
Gross,
all right, guys. Once again, thank you so much, audience. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna sign off now.
Thanks for having us, man.
For sure.
Thank you.
Night night.